Alright, so I did this just for the subscriber part because I don't have it all the way complete. But I wanted to go over what I do have, and I would turn it into a video, kind of have a practice run today. So, this is sort of day one of Devotion Roulette. So we're going to do Saturdays, 8 to 10. Wednesdays are going to be the checkpoint, where I go on live, not too sure what time, probably around 9:30 in the morning, give or take. If it changes, I will post about it. The checkpoint is for us to, so Saturday we're going to do the devotion, right? And then Wednesday we're going to have a checkpoint where we discuss how we've been applying the scriptures and the principles that were discussed and taught and prayed about the Saturday before that. And then we're going to also kind of like set a little plan, see what we can do to further out and complete the rest of that week with keeping those scriptures and those principles in mind throughout the rest of that week until that coming Saturday, where we will then do a little review, and then we will go ahead and do the next devotion roulette. So, with that being said, we're going to go over the history real quick. Well, actually, I'm going to read you something. Okay, so this is what I wrote. This was a while ago. But it says, Devotion Roulette, sharing what helps us receive His provision. Accessing devotion and motive by allowing God to search our hearts. Learning the role probability plays in attaining wisdom and discernment. Learning lessons from each consequence, realizing our faith and obedience is our responsibility. There are levels in salvation. So it's a hierarchy. Renewal, relationship, rest, and salvation. Or sanctification, I mean. Renewal, relationship, rest, and sanctification. Which is pretty, being fully set apart, fully holy with Jesus, right? I don't think that's the right words I'm looking for, but for us, success is to persistently seek His face, and progress is a process that we must walk through and with Jesus Christ. He sets us apart through His Holy Spirit and His divine word. So, Devotion Roulette, I wanted to make it sort of like an acronym, right? So, D is for desperate, E is for expression, V is valued, over, temptations, inviting, our new. Rising on undeserved love, earnestly thankful. To eternity. Okay. So, there's that. Alright. So we're going to go over the history a little bit real quick. So, in the 17th century, it was actually, the first form was created in France by, he was a physicist, a mathematician, and something else. It's not really too important, but I thought it would be kind of cool. It was called Little Wheel. When it came out in its first form in 18th century, and then in 1843, the single O-style wheel came out in Germany. It wasn't until the 20th century that Las Vegas created its own kind and made it the American wheel, right? So today's variations, it says some people say there's 3, some say there's 7. I'm going to say there's 7. So, because if one says 7 and names them, and the other says 3, what about the other 4? So we're just going to play it safe, and we're going to say 7. So we're going to go to our next boards. Alright, so the online discussion is switch-a-do, right? It's just a fun little thing, but, 1 second, we're going to change the background. Okay, so that was going over a little bit of the history. Now, up here, the outcome of each round needs to be, so this is in the regular roulette, right? So the outcome of each round okay, so the outcome of each round in the regular roulette, right, game needs to be predicted. What does that mean? So before, like, once the wheel starts spinning, they throw the thing out there. They're going to have to predict where the ball will finally rest. Okay? So, let's see. The outcome of each round needs to be predicted. That means you're going to be predicting where the ball Alright. So this is the switch-a-do, right? So in the game that we're playing, Devotion Roulette, you don't need to predict, you need to hear. You need to hear where you shall rest. Alright? So right here, instead of predicting where the ball, you're going to predict where. You're going to ask God, and instead of predicting, it's going to be here. You need to hear, right? So the outcome of each round usually relies, in roulette, on luck. But in devotion roulette, it's going to rely on the favor of God. Okay? And that's important to know. So, the outcome of each round relies on relies on luck. But in devotion roulette, the outcome of each round relies on God's favor. That means that in order to win the round, where it is that you are to rest for the day or for that week needs to be heard. Needs to be heard from God, right? For each of us. So, we're going to go ahead. We're going to go to our boards up here. Okay. So the online switch to do. So we replaced luck with favor. We replaced predict with hear. Oh, we haven't got there yet. Okay, hold on. What am I forgetting? Oh, okay. So, the most important decision in the roulette, the original roulette, in each round is to make, or the most important decision to make in each round is to choose one of these three or all of them, right? So you're going to either choose high risk, high reward, or safer alternatives. Reward or safer alternatives. Alright? Right here. Oh, that's not important yet. Okay. This is the area, right? So you're going to pick high risk, high reward, or safer alternatives. Most important decision to make is to choose one of these. Okay? You want to choose that at the very beginning. Can it change over time? Yes. But that's the importance of hearing, okay? So, the area right here, where you make that decision, that's the part, so instead of luck, that in the regular roulette, this is the part where strategy comes in. Where strategy can affect the outcome here. Okay, so you can have a strategy. If it's good, it can push you closer to winning. If it's not so good, obviously it's going to push you the opposite way of winning, losing. Okay. Strategy here plays a part. It's still, even if you have a good strategy, it's still not a guarantee for success. None of them are. Okay? Remember that. So in regular roulette, right here, one of the best ways of winning is to do a 3-2 or a 5-unit bet, or you can choose an outside bet, which is what we're going to be discussing. We're going to outside because we're going to outsource our strength, right? We're going to outsource the predicting. Instead of predicting, we're going to hear from God. So we are outsourcing for the prediction. We are asking God to lead us, for us to hear him. So we're waiting patiently. So, what does that mean? So, the 3-2 bet, 5-unit bet, all are equally likely. Hold on. Okay, so all are equally likely for the ball to land on it. All numbers are equally likely, or all areas. So our job and our goal is to find which is the least likely and evenly bet on all others. Okay? But for our, right? And we're gonna, instead of strategy, that's where it's considered surrender. So we're surrendering our part. We're surrendering it to God. The part of deciding, right? We're gonna let him make the decisions. Because if we don't know whether to choose high risk, high reward, or safer alternatives. So we're going to say, God, Holy Spirit, have your way. Lead us there. So, with that being said, surrender that decision. We're outsourcing the prediction. Favor replaces luck. All are equally likely. What is that? That stays the same in a way, okay? Why? Because God is no respecter of persons. So it's still a pretty good chance of winning and a good chance of losing. But he's no respecters of persons. So what does that mean? Hold on. So if we're finding the least likely, so if he would be looking for the least likely, because he's going to be the one predicting and making decisions, who do you think he's going to pick? Do we know? So what's the least likely? And then he's going to make even on all others. So what does that mean? That means he's going to leave the 99. He's going to say, stay here. He's betting that they're going to stay there. He's going to go, and he's going to go to get the one. Right? In a sense. You get what I'm saying? It's a little bit different. Okay. Favor replaces luck. We're going to surrender. He's not a respecter of persons. So, if it's relying on his favor to ensure that we're hearing him correctly, and he's making decisions for us, that means, how are we earning God's favor? So, what makes him look on us with favor? Right? That should be the question. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, over here. So Nico Tosa and his friends had figured out how to beat the original roulette. And they would wait about 6 to 7 seconds after the ball was tossed to make their bets. Right? And we're going to do something similar. So we're going to wait 7 seconds after the ball is tossed to make the decision. Why? Because we're waiting on the Lord. But we're waiting expectantly. And that means we have to be ready and be aware, be alert, and watchful. Okay? Listening, hearing, blocking out distractions, okay? So, now we're going to go let's switch this board up. So we went over favor, hear, surrender. Alright, so now the discussion is moving to construction. Free remodeling, right? So, what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to go under construction, right? So, the important thing before we get started in this, and this is the part that I thought was so cool, is how God turned out when I was going over and explaining the rules to this, it's very branched away, it's branching far away from the original roulette, but that's okay, because we don't want to be making bets and stuff. In the rules and in the explaining how it is like this, how he turned this in itself into a devotion and one that was interactive that you guys could do, we could do, I thought it was really cool. So, let me change the board. What's important in construction? Do you guys know? So in construction, before you start building something new, you want to remove the old. You want to remove anything dead, anything broken, and anything toxic, right? So, that means this is going to be the ultimate guide for deconstruction. It's important. You want to deconstruct the lies, or the indoctrination, if you will, first. That's very important. Very, very, very important. So, let's see. I think I made a board for this next one. Oh, okay. Actually, I missed a part. Okay. The most important decision that you're going to make in the whole game, right, is to choose one of these three.